put earrings on? No. All right.
In 5,
Right here.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Excuse me?
You know, we're back at it again.
All right.
Oh my God.
All right.
Welcome back to another episode of Talks with Wine. I am your host, Marley. These are my lovely two co-hosts.
Maya.
I am Tamara.
How's it going?
It's terrible.
Don't put me out there.
We know who you are.
Don't put me out there like that. How is your week going?
I am on day 5 of my 7-day work week. So
You work all 7 days?
I'm working all 7 days
Well,
this
she's
week.
Jamaican, so.
She is.
Living up to my standards, you know.
What is that? You have like 4 jobs? 3?
I have 3 actually, but you
Truly
know,
Jamaican.
3.5. Hair on the side.
3 is the third.
Oh.
No, I think, you know what? Just go ahead. Because
So
you got a lot of jobs.
My week is going well. You know, I'm never broke, always paid.
And laid.
Cash money.
Amen.
Amen.
How was your week?
Marley?
What?
No,
What happened to your week?
No, my
I was
week
gonna
has
say
been,
that was rough.
honestly, my week has been really good. I think I am feeling like some kind of, I don't know, like energy shift or like
Retrograde.
evolution.
You know,
Yeah, like I
retrograde
feel
all year.
Yeah, I know. But I feel good. I feel like momentum is happening. I'm just having a week of like unexpected things, and I'm just kind of working through it. Like, no, just not bad, not good, really neutral. Just kind of like, okay, so that was a lesson that I needed to learn. I learned that in real time. I'm like, all right, fine. I'm learning to like repurpose my energy or like find other portals and vessels to just put it into. So I'm having a good week. It's just been evolving.
Okay.
And Miss Mara?
My week has been subtle. Like, nothing crazy happening, which is good. It's
Really good.
nothing crazy happening. And I love it. This retrograde- I'm not getting caught up in no crazy retrogradeness
That's fair.
activities, but I am feeling things in real time. And from our last episode when we discussed, you know, growing up, did a little bit more thinking, and so now we're here, and
Mm-hmm.
That is a
Feeling
good
good.
one. I like that.
So we chatting about tonight.
well,
Let me know.
well, tonight, yeah,
This episode.
In this
episode.
moment,
right now, we will be discussing colorism versus preference.
Alright.
And the reason I wanted to discuss colorism,
A hot topic.
it is a hot topic.
It's
It
always been a hot topic.
has been, but
Not to be confused with that store.
Okay, man.
oh, I hate you.
I'm sorry, I'm corny.
But no, I think revisiting colorism, it happens so often where it's like we'll have a period in time where someone says some outlandish stuff and it's like, but, and we kind of like sweep it under the rug after a while. So I kind of wanted to visit it. Being the dark-skinned girl in the crew, not like it's actually.
I'm about to say, because in my mind, me and you are the same complexion, baby.
I'm dark skinned.
Ma'am.
Don't put your skin to my skin. I said what I said. This is colorism in real time.
In real time.
In real
no.
time. Do you see what she just did?
I can't with you guys. I can't.
How about before we get all crazy into it, does anyone have the colorism definition?
I do.
Oh, come on, scholar.
All right.
She was that student.
Today, there is shit on my cards. Let me. No, so I got this definition. Let me cite this right. I got this definition from nccj.org, which is the National Conference for Community and Justice.
Ooh,
And they have
That's legit.
identified, you know,
it's legit.
because it's .org, just to be clear.
That's important.
And they have identified colorism as a practice of discrimination by which those with fair or lighter skin tone are treated more favorably than those with a darker skin tone. The practices stem from the product of racism, predominantly in the U.S., but not limited to a worldwide practice. And in this practice, it upholds European standards of beauty and privileges of European or white people and the institutions of oppression, such as media, medical, work fields. The list goes on. Back to you, Marley.
Okay. So now that we've covered colorism, I think it's very important to know the difference, because a lot of people will say things in a sense of, oh yeah, well, that's just my preference, all the while saying those outlandish things. So when I looked up preference, it said it was a greater liking for one alternative over another or others. So the difference between colorism and preference is that it's in the word. You prefer something over another.
But you're not discriminatory towards it.
Right. Because you can still like the other thing,
Right.
or you can still compare it,
Right.
but it's not just that one thing.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah, it does, at least to me.
Yeah, I wish it made sense to everybody.
Well,
We're still two, but we can talk about like growing up, our different experiences, like
Okay.
even in your household, like what is it that you saw that stood out to you growing up? Were you called any crazy names? I'm talking about y'all. I was just looking at you.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
I was gonna say, because I didn't. So, growing up for me, we didn't have colorism issues in my household because me and my sisters are like every shade of brown in a Crayola box.
no, so
We
we were like a makeup palette.
We were like a
Fancy
makeup palette.
A black owned.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? My oldest sister, she was very, very fair skinned.
Mm-hmm.
The second child is Marley's complexion. Then you have me. Then you have my sister Yasmin, who is also a little lighter than me. Then you have the baby girl, who is again Marley's complexion.
It was like dark
I was
light,
like,
dark
okay.
light.
Yeah,
Every other
and then like
one.
my grandfather was a beautiful dark skinned man, and my grandmother was a beautiful brown skinned woman. So like they made a whole like coloring book, like you know what I mean? Like so
I'm
we
sorry.
didn't have that.
Every time someone says beautiful chocolate man, I immediately think white chicks.
White chick.
I
yes.
immediately just want to go, what a beautiful chocolate man. I'm sorry, I had to get that out.
My grandfather was a handsome man, you know, and like we didn't have that growing up. Like we didn't.
Yeah.
We talked about. We had other things, you know what I mean? Like Jamaican people, you know, you dealt with being skinnier, being bigger. There was never really, and like my grandmother was never one of those Jamaicans who used like bleaching products and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's
So-
a big thing.
So I didn't have that.
What about you, Sam?
I think now that I've got like a more solidifying understanding of the terms, I can definitely piggyback that I agree that colorism is definitely a stem from racism. And I think for me, for my dad, it was a big thing. My dad and most of pretty much everyone in his family, with the exception of like two of my aunts, are your complexion. And my mom is slightly lighter than I am. So like for my dad, it was kind of like, yes, I chose a fair-skinned woman, but I'm also like picking on you because you're more light-skinned. So I grew up with my dad literally like calling me and my brother like light bright, like joking around saying like, oh, y'all can't be mine because y'all ain't dark enough. Like, you know, I grew up with the concept that like women or people your skin tone are more superior than people of my skin tone, Kamaya's, or people that are like lighter than us. So like I think, and I just think that for him, because especially growing up in like the South, I think for him it was like
Trying to ensure that you see
yeah, but almost like a forced preference, because he got to the point where like, you know, he was so used to being called dark skin or being called this that he had to like kind of grow to love his skin, but it almost to a fault. So it's like he loves his skin so much, but now you're like kind of picking on me for being lighter. You know what I mean? So I kind of grew up with a little bit of that.
Okay.
And it's just a very strange dynamic of colorism in my house.
Okay.
Well, you know,
Here
there
you
is
come.
such a thing as being color struck. I'm glad you said that, because being color struck means that you would take part in that colorism.
Mhm.
So like you're just like, well, this is it. I'm only light skins, only light brights that you would prefer. For me, it was, I don't know, it wasn't as bad growing up. Like I got called darky, you know, all the coined terms that we use to describe dark skinned people. But my mom is lighter than the both of y'all. Probably just a shade under your skin tone. So it was like, all right, my dad is dark skinned. So for me, I didn't really see anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
I was not compelled to like change my skin tone with all the bullying that went on. It was just like,
that's funny that you
Okay.
say that, because I feel like because of my dad being so like adamant about, you know, I felt bad that I wasn't your complexion, which I think you don't really hear like too often. Or I feel like more present day now in social media, because darker women are, I feel like, I wouldn't
They're
say
being
finally
appreciated
getting
more.
yeah, but you know, like finally publicly, I feel like openly being like appreciated and you know, like loved on and stuff, and stepping away from that. Oh, you're pretty for a dark skinned girl, or she's
we
pretty
have
for
to-
that.
Because we have to take it back, like, we can take it back to, like, the early 20th century. You know what I mean? Like, in our own community, they had the, you guys have heard of the paper bag test.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? I mean, those who don't know, like, you know, they used to compare you to a paper bag. Like, and if your skin was darker than that paper bag, you were not beautiful. You were not society's norm.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I feel like we've come a long way as a people to dismantle that.
Yeah.
And I mean, like,
But have we?
when we think about we've come a, we have to say, but we have to say we've come a long way, because if you look at, if we really don't look at, I want to say we don't want to look at the ignorance behind some people. Look at the greater scheme. Like, look at the women who, look at Lupita.
Yeah.
Back in the day, Lupita would not be in leading roles.
Hell, look at Whoopi Goldberg.
Look at
Let's be
Whoopi.
real, like, you know.
Kiki,
Kelly
Gabrielle-
Rowland, Gabrielle Union.
Kiki Palmer.
She about my complexion.
But I mean, put it this way: Kiki Palmer versus Yara Shahidi.
Yeah.
We would have seen more Yara Shahidi than Kiki Palmer. You get what I mean?
The
Ryan
Halle Berrys.
Destiny. You get what I mean? Like,
Oh, I love her.
Bria Miles is a gorgeous one. But it's just like, I feel like now, what?
Did you just take a bite of that?
She sure
What?
And so,
I feel like now we're just like, we're appreciating that, you know, the black skin comes in more than one shade of brown. And I say black skin because when you ask any other race, what are you? They don't say African American, you're black.
Yeah.
Because, you know, there's an African American race, there's an African race, there's a, you get what I mean?
Caribbean, Afro-Latina. I think we dismissed that because we've so often come across like Cape Verdeans who will shun down being black, or like Puerto Ricans or Dominicans,
Or Cubans even.
forgetting that we're all Afro something. We all originated from Africa. We're all still black.
Right.
And I do want us all to, like, you said it tomorrow when you read the definition, I want, like, to emphasize that this is not something that is only in the African American community, because Dominicans suffer from it, Cubans suffer from
But
it.
that's what I mean. They're still within the African
Exactly.
American
And then
community.
Yeah.
they'll
when you
tell you
look-
that they don't see, oh, there's no colorism. No. There is a big difference.
So,
Real quick,
mhm.
piggybacking off of Kamaya, it's funny because this week when I met with my mentor, I presented what the topic would be, right? I'm like, oh yeah, we're gonna discuss colorism versus preference. This man, older white man, sits there and goes, what's colorism? In my mind, I had to like, not, I had to like think about it.
A practice of discrimination by which those of fair, lighter skin.
You know,
I
get up
had
and
to
walk
think about
away,
it.
but I can't
No,
do that.
but you can't because
that's your
it's
chance to
literally-
enlighten. Honestly,
yes,
that's your chance
it's
to really break it
literally
down and
within
enlighten.
our communities. Because white people, they're only, not to say there's only one shade, but there's literally only one shade.
That is true.
So,
But they also-
they also
they know racism.
I want to be real. No, but I also want to be real with you guys. Because if a white person is going to sit there and say they don't know, they're just being blind to what's in front of them. Because they also practice colorism. Because they are also the people who are, you're so pretty for a darker skin girl.
But no, that to them, that's
it's still
not-
colorism.
colorism is within the group. Because Indian
But
people,
everyone can practice it.
they can, everyone can practice it, but that's something that's taught to the outside community. Because no
Yeah,
one's
like
going to be sitting there and saying, oh, you're really pretty for a dark skinned girl. Like, what does that mean? How do you know to say that?
The reason why I say if we look back at time, the reason why colorism was originated was because you had the lighter skinned people who were in the house, the darker skinned people were in
Yeah,
the
it
fields.
stems from racism.
So who created this complex?
They created racism. We created colorism.
But they gave us the seeds.
They did.
And we planted it.
Oh,
So
we did.
you get what I
And we
mean?
carried it through. We're still constantly carrying it out.
Okay.
I just never want to give any of them any kind of scapegoat. This is your
I didn't let it go. I legit was like, well, it's racism, but within communities, like within smaller communities.
All right, so we got colorism down. Now I'm gonna ask y'all ladies, because we're supposed to also be talking about preference. Is there an issue with preference? First, do I need to remind you what preference is?
Remind me what preference.
One more again. Preference is a
I can read it off
choosing,
Molly's card. You can stop.
a choosing of or liking of a special. No.
Go ahead. What's your question?
A choosing of or special liking for one thing or person rather than another or others. But it's the power to choose. It's the choice of selection.
Okay.
So when I ask you guys
The
about,
power to choose the choice of selection.
that's preference. Now, is there an issue with preference? Is it wrong?
No.
Okay.
Yes. What do you mean
Preference?
no?
I don't think preference is
Preference. So you're telling me, because the way that I see it, like, I don't personally think there's an issue with preference if you're not being disrespectful.
And you're not being
if you're not being
discriminative.
inconsiderate of other, like the other outlines listed in colorism. I think you're entitled to like what you like.
Okay.
That's a basic human right.
Okay.
I
know.
personally like darker skin
At least for
men.
now it is.
Oh. I
For right now.
personally like darker skinned men.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna sit there and tell every light skinned man I see him, oh, I can't date you. You're light skinned. Like,
I'm not gonna bash you. I'm not gonna bash
But
you
my
and be like,
preference is darker skinned men.
Have you ever been with a lighter skin man?
Yes.
Okay. So that's where the preference thing comes in,
It was
because
in high
you could
school,
prefer.
but, I mean.
I said it was years ago. I done changed over
But
that.
I mean, but this is the thing, though. But this is where I feel like we tend to, as a people, want to always punish ourselves, because you can have a preference and still not participate in colorism.
totally.
Just because I like
It's the
what I
choice
like, I'm
of
not
selection
exactly. I'm choosing to like this. I'm not putting down that other person.
at all.
You get what I mean?
There are some fine light-skinned men out there. Does that mean that
Remember the
they
one we
are
seen?
approachable?
Remember that one we see?
Does that mean that we will go near them?
First of all,
But that's the thing, it's a preference.
So-
you're attracted to what you're attracted
A
to.
prime
Okay.
example, I think, of somebody who rides the line of going from preference to colorism to even discrimination.
prejudice. Is it prejudice or just being prejudiced?
That's just being
prejudiced.
prejudiced.
Okay.
Coin that though, you never know. Maybe later Merriam
Well,
Webster
I mean,
might,
we
might
could.
take you on. I was gonna say Chris Brown is a fine example.
Because I'm gonna tell you, Chris
someone
Brown
that-
seesaws.
Yeah, like I think he has moments where it sounds like he's just stating his preference, and it's like, okay, you could be mad, but that's his preference.
And then he'll
But
just
then-
jump right out the window.
You know,
and be
but
like,
then, exactly like, but if someone rebuts that, then his response back turns into like, oh no,
We
this
should have
is-
just.
oh.
No.
It's just like a slow fire that just builds up. It's
he's
like,
not as out in the open as people like, which I really don't understand. How? Little Wayne, who has a beautiful. The mother of his child, Toya Wright, is one of the most beautiful brown-skinned women I've ever seen, and Reginae is right behind her. But every time he gets the chance, he says, "Beautiful
Well,
black girl, but I bet you she'll look better red. I
now.
like a long
Well-
hair, thick red."
Lil Wayne has
Now,
numerous baby mothers.
But that is colorism,
right, 'cause
right?
I can
Yeah.
borrow
but he
Lauren.
doesn't.
But he doesn't.
He doesn't. You can see what his preference is. Yes,
But-
for him stating that.
His preference
It's-
is women.
Women.
He's
He's dated a
All
whole
the fine
other
ones.
thing.
A
but
plethora.
he lets us know what he lets us know often. And I'm a big Lil Wayne fan. I love all his lyrics. You think I would stop listening to him?
Because they're not offended by it. That's the other thing.
No, I take offense to every time he talks about how a dark-skinned woman would look better if she was lighter skinned.
Oh.
I take offense to all of that. You know what I mean?
I
Those are the
definitely
songs
do.
I don't like. I can't, like, I won't buy those songs. I won't support those songs because, like, he legit will say, like, I think you would look better light-skinned. And that right there is taken away from
Your
that woman's natural, not even her preference, that woman's, you're now attacking at
Her
woman's
for
looks
her, yeah.
and her features.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
And I think that's the difference with
And I think that there's
colorism and preference.
I agree, and I think that there's a lot of argument about that, just because honestly, like, people really haven't taken the time to learn the definition of colorism and learn the definition of preference. And the thing is, I also feel like, to a degree, I feel like more men get more flack about colorism
than women
Than
do.
women.
Yeah.
That double
Because-
standard.
Yes,
Yeah.
because not to say that.
But I also feel that men are more vocal about it, and then it kind of turns more like.
I don't think men are more vocal about it. I think they're more ignorant when they state it. Because women vocalize, I need
Because
me
I'm
a
not
tall,
saying-
dark-skinned, strong man to take care of me.
Not all men.
Oh, my light-skinned, soft man. Oh, he's too
What?
pretty.
Wait a minute.
These-
What?
Y'all seen the Tyler Perry films? I'm sorry, I love Tyler Perry, but he is
Wait,
one person.
Shamar Moore
But
didn't get that role.
the Tyler Perry plays.
That
The,
wig, sis.
the
That
Tyler
wig.
Perry-
We're not here to
Ooh.
talk about that.
do we not
Sorry,
remember
but
the Tyler?
that's
Do
the
we,
only thing.
do we remember the Tyler Perry plays though?
Yes.
Barely.
So the Tyler Perry plays, he always made it so. He always made it so the light skinned people, not even men or women, the light skinned women or men were the ones who were richer,
Yeah.
the ones who were prettier. And
I also
puffed up,
think that that's what
and
he
they
grew
also
up with.
needed saving.
And he said
Whereas
that,
the
like,
dark skinned people were either the
the
strong,
strong-
hard ones
Mhm.
or the evil ones. And it's just like,
I think that also stems for the fact that we are the ones carrying it out, because when we speak on things like, oh, when we say things like, I don't want him because he might be prettier than I am, he'll be in the bathroom taking longer, and we're referring to light-skinned men,
Mhm.
then we turn over and be like, oh, I just want a dark, strong man, to come and save me. And it's like, how does their skin tone
make it any different.
connect
Yeah.
to the, because
Connect
I've been
their
in-
masculinity or their
I've been in discussions where it's like, oh, you're dark skinned. Have you ever wanted to bleach your skin and this, that, and the third? And I'm just like, no, I never had a reason to.
Mhm.
Like, my mom may have, like, she might have used certain creams to lighten up, but it's not like a major shift where we see.
What is it? White delicious? White
Tenacious,
delicious?
yeah. I think it's like, even if it's not severe, it's still altering, and it's just like, I want us to come to a point where we love who we are regardless, and like
I feel like we're
love
getting there.
Yeah, 'cause I was
other,
gonna
who
say-
we like each other regardless. Because the thing about, like, for me to, when it comes to like colorism, and when it comes to, I feel like sometimes it's like, oh, I got a clique of, like, I think about, like, my group of friends, and I have, shades of women, and when we go out to the club, or if we go out, I always in the back of my head feel bad if my dark skinned friend doesn't get talked to.
Oh, again.
And,
In the
you know,
corner,
of
like,
Of course not, but, like,
scoping out of light skin.
but that for me stems because I feel like I've witnessed dark skinned women be disrespected, and I feel like I see the beauty in everybody. I don't call people ugly. I don't believe in that. Like, I think it's disrespectful. I really don't. But, like, when I am in those instances, I'm just like, damn, like, why does it have to be like that? Like, and it'll be a dark skinned dude. Like, nah.
But
like,
that's different, because at that point it's just self-hate.
so
When
a question.
people like Kodak Black, who's dark as ever, goes, oh, I don't date dark-skinned women, I think this and that of them. Wait a minute.
And it's like,
How can you look at yourself and be like, well, I'm not going to
seeing what they
date?
don't want to be. They're seeing themselves, and they don't want to see themselves.
And that's the
But you
scary
can see
thing about
yourself
it.
in. But how are you seeing yourself in me? Because I haven't exuded any of those things.
Self-hate.
Yeah, and it's like
just,
it's like. So, do you feel that way about your mother?
So a question I have for you next is, right, how would we go about dismantling this? How do we go about shifting and shaping it?
Well, I'm gonna continue
And changing.
doing what I've been doing. I'm just praise all my black queens because I really don't, and kings. You know what I'm saying? Like, I joke around a lot, like, I don't know, like, but honestly, if you're a good person, I really don't care.
And I think that's what people don't realize.
I think that is the-
regardless of what your race is, your nationality, your religion, your skin color, how you treat people and how you are on the inside is going to show your beauty on the outside.
Agreed.
right. And
Regardless.
self-love. But before we talk about dismantling colorism, we also have to take into account how we're still carrying it out. Because for me,
of course, that's the thing.
we have to be like, we have to acknowledge these things. Because, like, the things that I've read about on the internet.
On the internet, I had seen.
Was crazy to me because one site had mentioned that between light-skinned and dark-skinned women, 55% of light-skinned women get married, whereas only 23% of dark-skinned women get married. So it's like we're still feeding into it, whereas
but then
I'd rather marry.
But then I would want.
I want light-skinned babies.
But then with
good hair.
not even to like,
I don't know what that means.
negate that. I would want to know where did you get those statistics from? Because
who sat down and was
like who?
Like, is there somebody?
Because I'm gonna be honest
out marriage
with you.
licenses and being like, I got a dark-skinned like.
But when you think about it, it's not. Yes, the statistics are there, but we don't even need the statistics to hear and see the things that we carry out.
No,
through our
because
community.
it's public.
We can hear and
publicly
see.
seen, like it's
Men-
experienced in real time.
Right.
Well, maybe it's because I don't
Or
associate myself with a lot of that stuff.
Yeah,
Because
so it's all on the internet.
but that's the thing. A lot of the people I follow on the internet and a lot of the couples I see are all colors. You get what I mean?
And
I think,
honestly-
and that's what I was gonna say. Maybe it's because I lock myself out of that nonsense and that ignorance.
But here's another thing. For you two, it won't be as apparent or as clear because
It's always going to be apparent and clear for me because my mother is darker than you. My sister's dark as you. They're in my family. So if my sister comes home and she feels the way, we talk about it, we discuss it. Like, this is in my household. You get what I mean? And like, I'm gonna tell you right now, my mother was a fox. Men wasn't. my mother didn't have a problem. So it's just like, those are the things where it's just like, I feel like, it's like what you said, teaching confidence. My mother hung around people who were going to let her know she was beautiful.
Right.
So she was then able to feel that.
I think that the key part of the dismantling, I'm not trying to be like pessimistic, but like we keep reiterating,
because I hear it coming.
Colorism is a stem from racism. So if you want to colorism,
you
is
heard
a
her,
stem
ma'am.
from racism.
Okay.
So if you want to dismantle colorism, yes, it is within our group to begin to do that. But say we get to the core, say we really don't do this, light skin, dark skin, fair skin, whatever. We still have to go out and face the rest of America, the rest of wherever.
And that paper bag test comes into
You know what I mean? We still have to go out. So I think the best way for us in our communities to dismantle that is to really start to, like you said, discuss teaching self-love, teaching appreciation of your skin, period. It doesn't matter.
Listen, my goddaughter said, and this is nothing to do with color. She was just like, I don't want to relax my hair anymore. I want my natural hair.
It does have it has to do with the beauty standard.
But that's what I mean. Like,
but
it's not,
but
that's,
is.
but she's learning that from within her household. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
But again,
that's what
in
we
the
need to
definition
do.
of colorism, though, it still stems from, again, yes, racism, but European standards.
And she's
And
just
so
like,
for
I
her to
don't
want to break those molds, or and don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with you wanting to get that, but that's not my preference,
right?
As we can see. And so I don't think, but I think to answer your question about dismantling, and to stay on the point of that, because to drive that home, it's really about remembering, I love the skin I'm in. I love your skin because I love you as a person. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, I don't see your skin color. I do see your skin color. I also see exactly. I see the slack you get. I see the compliments you get. Same for you, same for myself. So I think it's just really about seeing.
I'm gonna be honest, I ain't never heard someone talk bad about my skin tone.
Not honestly, I don't
which is
get
good,
that.
Which is amazing.
Growing up, I did, but now
I was gonna say,
I want me a chocolate.
My cousin is your complexion, if not a little darker, and she's growing up being called an ape and stuff like that.
That's another thing that goes with dismantling. Let's stop looking at dark skinned people as a trophy, as a prize.
Actually, it's reversed.
As a keychain.
Because you want the light skin because it's closer to...
Well, no, what I mean now is...
They do.
I don't want that.
Based on what
I mean is what you just said. I want me a dark skinned chick. I want me a nice little chocolate chick. It's just like...
But that's the conversation now.
That's what I mean. That also... Because now the roles are switched. Colorism is still being practice,
But
but it's
it's shifting.
exactly.
I
And
agree
for us
with that.
all to love each other, I want her because of who she is.
Yeah.
Not because she's this beautiful Godiva chocolate that I want.
I mean,
in
that's
my
a
mouth.
plus.
It's a
But
plus.
first things first,
But
she herself is an amazing person.
exactly.
I want this mocha queen because she's smart as hell. She know how to throw down in the, you know, in the kitchen.
Oh,
And
I thought
she's,
she was gonna talk about
ma'am.
They don't need to know.
And that is the episode.
No, but I agree. Starting off by, I think, digging deeper into it. I think, like we had said earlier, knowing what it is, knowing the difference between being this being your preference and you just being outright ignorant,
and,
like
and discriminative,
Yeah.
like, you know, based off of just ignorance.
Oh,
is really what it is. Woo, that was good.
That's the start.
alright.
I like that.
Alrighty.
All right, well, my preference is to get the hell out of here on time. So with that being said, thank you for
Thank you for tuning in.
With Talks with
Have a good
Mine.
night, guys.
Thank you guys.
Woo, woo, woo.
And practice loving one another.
Amen.
Okay.